Welcome to WFSO Aftermath. We are live on TikTok on my personal page. We're on there. Oh yeah, thanks for the likes. I appreciate that. Like I said, we're on TikTok. We're on YouTube Live, of course. Besides being pre-recorded here, um, we also are starting doing Facebook Live on the WFSO's radio network page. So check that out. And of course, the normal uh Twitch. So can't believe I forgot it that fast. But anyways, today we're going to talk about the results of TNA against all odds. Also, we're going to talk about Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. So there's been some controversy that's going on with that. So we're going to talk about that. Um, yeah, there's been a lot of Bucks news that have been posting out lately. So we're going to talk about that. We know one of the news that we heard of, which was confirmed today, is true. So we're going to get to that. Um, also, it was supposed to be like a solo video that I was supposed to do about this, like with the idea of someone that Bucks could get. But I'm not saying they're going to officially get them, but is that opportunity that if they could, they should do that. That's my opinion on that. And plus, just a little bit of comic book movies and TV news. So talk about a little bit about that from both Marvel and DC. So there ain't that much news because the only thing Marvel got going on is the TV series of Ironheart. So that's going to start up in 2 weeks. Um, I don't know how they're going to do the episodes. Are they? Because they said the format they was going to think of doing just doing like 3 episodes a week, and I think it's like a total of nine, or is it a total of six? I'm not sure, but if you guys know about it, just let me know, and we can talk about it on here. So mainly, what we gonna talk about, we normally talk about on this channel and what y'all watching live and pre-recorded. We talk about Milwaukee Bucks. We talk about wrestling. We talk about comic book movies and TV news. We talk about that, and also we talk about developments that's going on in Milwaukee. So really, it's not really that much to talk about. I think I'll talk about some of that most of last week. So now I'm gonna talk about on that part today. So, anyways, let's get to TNA against all odds. So we're gonna start with that, and I did see majority of this pay per view since it was free for people that subscribe to TNA Plus anyway. So yeah, you had the countdown to against all odds. I did catch most of it, but not all of it, but pretty good showing. And the Elegance brand actually did end up being Zaya Brookside, Myla Grace, and Harley Hudson. So I said the opposite, and I ended up being wrong on this one. So there are some matches out of all of them that I were off on. So of course I will try to remember and say, "Oh, hi, Will. Hey, what's going on?" Um, but yeah, like I'm gonna talk about see if I got wrong and the countdown to against all odds. Of course, like that match, this match right here, the six women's tag, well, the six knockouts tag, I should say. I was wrong about that one. Pretty decent match, and after they won, the Inspiration is back. If y'all familiar with them, in WWE, they was called Iconic. Um, it was Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, but they going by their real names, Cassie Lee and Jessica McKay. Um, so yeah, seems like they're gonna pop up and return to TNA. So that's interesting. KK, hey, what's up? Um, like I said, if y'all like chat on here, just say you want to say hi and stuff like that. Island Queen, hey, it's Island Queen 111. Hey there, how you doing? I will shout y'all out on here on while we're live. Y'all want to just say hi or something like that, or do a shout out or something. just let me know. But for you guys, before we go on, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and trying to do like a giveaway when we get to 1,000. So, oh, actually, thanks for asking that. He's actually gonna graduate this Thursday. So, yeah, he kind of did like this. What was it, like a 10-mile walk or something like that? Oh, yeah, she'll explain it to you. So,
Okay, he's at the end of last week. He did what is called the Forge,
oh, the Forge.
which is basically on Monday morning at like 5 a.m. They did a 10-mile hike into the woods. Robert's platoon was the enemy, along with the third platoon. So the first and third platoon were the enemy. Second and fourth platoon were the good guys. So they
Right.
basically battled each other, and the good guys had to find a map on the bad guys to find out where the bad guys' head, like main base was, all that sort of stuff. After that, they then did a 5 mile hike to their next battle station where they had to protect a roadway um, and stop enemies from coming along that. They then had another 5 mile hike afterwards to their next campsite where they played more war games. And then they had another 5 mile hike before they had their other nighttime thing. And then they had a 12.5 mile hike back to base. So altogether, it was approximately 47 miles of hiking, roughing it, war games.
Ooh.
I and when they got back, that was their passing, and he got pinned as a soldier. So he is officially a soldier. He has a like a test type thing. He said tomorrow, where they have to disassemble their rifle and have that in their canteen spread out. And then one of their commanders comes in and asks some
Hi, Nick.
questions that they have to answer these questions. And that's like the final test. But he said he's never been so hungry in his entire life, and he will eat anything right now to the point where he he was so hungry a couple of weeks back that he donated blood because they gave him cookies and a can of Dr. Pepper. And my boy doesn't particularly like Dr. Pepper, but he heard that they were giving away cookies and a Dr. Pepper, and they also got an extra meal because they were donating blood.
Well, that's good
And
news.
he got 2 days worth.
Hey, Arnold, to Jesus, and Artemisia. Sorry if I say your name's wrong. Hello.
Yeah, he got 2 days of light duty because of donating blood as well. But he still had to. There was still a lot he said he had to do. But he said how hungry it makes you there is that you're willing to donate blood for cookies, an extra meal, and a Dr. Pepper. Um,
Well, at least he did something good.
he did, and he said he's going to carry on donating blood in memory of Matthew from now on, which touched my heart completely.
Aw.
Then, as I say, he graduates the Thursday,
Yeah.
and his big brother Greg is going to be down there with him because sadly, due to a lot of circumstances, including having to put our dog to sleep this
Mhm.
past Friday, which cost a small fortune,
Yeah.
we're unable to be there. But he then goes on to AIT, which is advanced training. So he's finishing basic training, he's going on to advanced training, and he is doing field artillery. So he'll learn all about the big guns and the computerized weaponry and everything. And he graduates all of that on his dead brother's 13th birthday. So on July 28th, he graduates all of that. And I can't think of a more perfect
Yeah.
day. And I'm sorry because I'm going to start crying because I miss him so much. Um, I'm beyond proud of him. Like, he did it. And he's been through so much this year with losing his dad. Like literally before going to basic training, he had his basic training dates, and His dad flew back from California, was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney, lung, and brain cancer, and literally died 21 days later. The funeral and the memorial service was held. The funeral was held the Friday before he left. The memorial was held on the Saturday before he left, and he left on the Monday. So he's been through hell. He found out who his friends are, as anybody in the military
Yeah,
can tell you
that
that your
sucks.
true
Yeah.
friends come to light. But he'll be home end of July, beginning of August, and trust me, I'm getting this man here, my wonderful husband, to film me seeing my son.
Yeah, I might end up doing it Facebook Live. I think
Yeah,
that.
I think you should, for everybody
Yeah,
who's you know
yeah.
missed out on seeing it.
Asking him about it, asking me about it, like
Yeah,
how he's doing and stuff like that. So yeah.
and so I'll probably actually give you my phone as well, so you can stream on mine too,
Okay.
because my mom's gonna wanna.
Okay, maybe I'll put your phone like for Facebook Live, and I probably would just do YouTube or something
Yeah.
like that.
So I can't wait for that because oh my god, and then he's missing his little boy. He's missing his little boy so much,
Yeah.
and he's grown up a lot. He really has. He said his whole life is firmly where it's going to be in the past when he comes
Hey,
back.
Julie.
It's a fresh start, and I just want him home. I that mama part of me is like I need to see my son's okay. I need to feed him. And you could tell everybody, I'm feeding him, right? Because every time I cook food, I'm like, well, I gotta cook extra for Robert and put it in
Yeah, I put it to the
food
side.
savers,
Chief
and
Hughes. Hey, what's going on?
I put it in food savers, and we've got his freezer slowly filling up with meals so that when he comes home, he could just throw something in the microwave and it be done. We've already arranged, haven't we, a big family meal, and it's not going to be a big family because we don't have a big family.
Right.
But you and me and Alyssa and Jace just meeting up with him afterwards, and because
Right.
you get the discount now, cousins, we're gonna do that, and just have a great family homecoming when he gets here, and then afterwards when he's settled in, go out to a restaurant and celebrate how amazing he is
Yeah.
then as well. Perhaps invite other people if they want to come along
Yeah.
and all that lot. Um, but we've got 6 weeks until he's home,
Right.
and it's gone quick. I'll say this has gone
In a way,
it's
it
gone
has.
pretty
Yeah.
quick, and you got 6 weeks, and I want that hard because he's been gone since the end of March, so it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god,
Yeah. You probably gonna want that long hug.
I'm not gonna let him go. Well, I will, but you know what I mean. It's
Yeah.
like my boy's home. But the thing that made me laugh today, and me and him were, because I get these wonderful
Pat
Sunday,
man, hey, what's up?
I get these wonderful Sunday phone calls, and I found online that I can get his platoon's T-shirt, and it's got his name and everything on it.
Right.
And his platoon is called the Nightcrawlers. And I laugh because if you anybody who knows goes fishing knows a nightcrawler is a worm. So the picture is this worm wearing his commando hat,
Right.
smoking a cigar, and I said to Rob, I like cried laughing. I said, "You guys are night crawlers," and he said, "Well, originally we were supposed to be called night stalkers." He said, "But our drill sergeant said that there were some of us who were so damn slow we were like worms and changed it to night crawlers." So that made me laugh. So I got to get that T-shirt with that worm on because that to me is just
Or just give him a picture of Nightcrawler from X Men.
I wish it was that night crawler, but
Can teleport everywhere. And sorry for not get to answer your question right away. No, no. He's in Lawson. Was it Lawson, Oklahoma? Lawton, Oklahoma. So that's where he's at. I'm just trying to get back to your GT ladder. What's going on? Um, just trying to catch up with your what you were saying. No. So just give me a moment here. Well, I was in basic. It was a week. The end of the 15 mile. I think I might have been 20 miles. Yeah, they had it a little bit harder, as you heard. So, oh wow, we went to a spot at the end, drank red Gatorade, and it was symbolized blood, but it was the. I know what you mean. Haven't donated blood since hella long. Yeah, I guess if you really want, don't want to try their food and stuff like that. So, yeah, and of course, I appreciate you being on like both platforms of this one and her face not Facebook, but her YouTube channel. So yeah, so yeah, it's a big deal, like and why they were saying about my discount or whatever because I now started last week work for Cousins. So just whenever I get my days off or if I get time to I'll do some videos and stuff like that. So it's just gonna be a little bit less. So it's not gonna be like it's going way down or anything like that. It's just gonna be like a little bit lesser than what I was doing before. And there's some videos that I still got to do that a friend of mine has sent me for some of the wrestling shows that she's been at. So give me time for that. I probably will work on that on a few of them at least tonight, and probably will end up being on there like right away. But yeah like she said, we had to put our dog to sleep on Friday, and I couldn't miss work because I did just got started there. So I didn't really get the chance, to say goodbye, a proper goodbye to her. So, kind of sucks. And what more can you do? And of course, the weekend, get the rest and talk about all this stuff. So, anyways, let's get back to it. Of course, I think they had the okay, they had Santino was talking about a little bit something in case Steph did. I'm sorry, Steph Delander, ended up was talking a bit too. So yeah, she was doing all that. But anyways, let's see. Now the first match was, the TNA International Championship. Steve Macklin was defending against Mance Warner. It it kind of got, I'll say it got decent. So it was a decent match. But I did like, the finish. So the finish, was kind of, awesome. So Warner was going to try to do his move, and Macklin counter and end up doing the KIA and pin him. So I do kind of hope that Steve Macklin does hold the international championship for a very long time. So we will see. And of course, they talking about their get 1 month free of TNA free with code odds 25. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I think probably what I'm gonna do is when it's time, to pay TNA Plus, I'm actually going to get their yearly membership because I think their yearly membership, in my opinion, is really worth it. So it's 159.99 a month. You get like all, of course, you get all the PLEs and all. You can see all the TNA Impact and also Explosion, which I still didn't get a chance to see that as of yet. Um, so it's a decent price, especially how you plan from like the main four pay per views, because paying those four pay per views combined is exactly nearly the same price as you paying for the pay per views with all them four pay per views anyway, and plus it's like you ain't gotta pay like $9.99 a month. You can just like get that year done and just worry about it, next year. So I'm probably just gonna do that, and plus, it'll be about time that I can see like all the big four pay per views and stuff like that. So I'm probably gonna end up trying to do that. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, now it was the 8 person tag, well, 8 man tag, I should say. I did trying to say like I think like if it was like somebody that's making their debut, they probably will like the Hardys and Leon Slater and whoever that is will win. Um, if you know if it was like a returning person that you already know, my thing is that I think the system was going to win, but I was kind of right and kind of wrong at the same time. Like it was a returning person, but they we all know who was like behind the mask and stuff. It was Cody Deaner, but he was called the hometown man, and it's a good gimmick and it's kind of funny. But at least you know it still keeps him around there. So I wonder how they're gonna end up just saying, okay, we just gonna renew your contract and so help you from there. Kind of the same thing with the certain situation that happened this past Saturday with Money in the Bank. So we'll talk about that. So of course, Leon Slater, the hardest in the hometown man, did win. So good for them. And plus, Cody Deaner, it'll be like somewhat his revenge at the same time. So it helps him out. Um, let's see what else. I wonder if he's just going to keep that that gimmick going until he gets exposed. Like what I said, while I'm hoping when Chad Gable and El Grande Americano get exposed. Um, so majority of this match I was watching with Mustafa Ali going against Jason Haas because he don't like the way Mustafa Ali been acting as of late, and kind of like one point like he put his hands on Sasha Steele. So earlier, before the main show started, Tasha Steele was on the phone with somebody. So, and I think it did not reveal like who was she on that phone with. So back and forth match. It was actually pretty decent, and Jason Hodge, in my opinion, kind of hold his own. Jay Lucky is one. How you doing? And welcome to the channel. Well, welcome to the live, I should say. Um, so yeah, Mustafa Ali did win. Let's see. Okay, actions had consequences. So okay, let's see. After the match, Ali confronts Skyler coming to the aid of Haas. Ali offers his hand to Haas but walks away at the last second. So whoever is Tasha Steele is on that phone with, we still do not know. Maybe put this down for a second because I see that the live video is gonna be uh um unpaused. So let me see which one it is because I think you cannot put both of these at the same time, which kind of sucks. So oh excuse me. So don't mind my hand here. I'm just trying to fuck this up. Does it work? Does it work? Does it work? Okay, it's plugged up, and let's see if this actually is plugged up. Okay, and then we try something here. Okay, that one don't work, so let's do the speed charger. Since nothing's plugged up on that, and still nothing? Unbelievable. My apologies, guys. It is not charging whatsoever. Did this charger finally had its limit? Looks like we had it for a moment, and like I said, for people that's on like YouTube, I apologize. I did try to charge this phone, and unfortunately, it's not working with me. So probably and them had to get in like a new plug. So that's probably what it is, and I probably Hopefully, I can look for one as soon as possible. So, y'all just give me a moment here. Let me just put this one to the side and let me see if there's another one that I can use for this to work. Oh, yeah. Maybe you try this one. No, I'm actually, somewhat bald. So I don't have waves, but I used to before, aging catch up with his limit. Let's just put it that way. So okay, let me unplug this. It's just crazy. You don't know the things that happen when you go live. So there we go. So that worked. So slow charging. So what? So like as long as it's working. So that means I gotta get rid of that other cord. Um, yeah. I don't know if I'm older than you or whatever the case may be. I'm not even sure. No, no. And hey, thank you guys for the likes on TikTok so far. So I appreciate it, and also the likes that on YouTube as well. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Let's. What's next? I don't know why. Is the point to talk about the first class penthouse, and it really wasn't much interesting. Of course, babe, you are older than me, but I'm talking to No No. He's. I just asked him like maybe he's probably like a little bit older than me. Since between me and you, I'm the youngest of the two. Yeah, still kind of a kid at heart. But yeah, this really is not like much to talk about. AJ Francis ran when Mike Santana came down, and Mike Santana ended up being Casey Lavario. So really, not that much to talk about with that part. Um, but the knockouts world championship match was great. Master Slamvis defended against Ian Lee. Um, like I said, good match. And Indy Hartwell was out there, ringside on commentating, just watching the match. So it was pretty good. So it was pretty cool. And of course, Master Slamfish did retain. So, good for her. Um, not nothing bad. So, I think, that works out pretty well. And sorry for the edge of the camera. So I apologize about that. Um, but yeah, yeah, keep it up with those likes, guys. Either on TikTok or also the likes that's on YouTube as well. So keep them going. Um, and I guess like for Facebook Live, I guess they give out stars or something like that. So hey, comments sent with stars will appear. Oh, okay, so that's what it is. Never mind. Um. Anyway, so of course, the shocking return of Killer Kelly. If y'all didn't know what happened to her, she was actually pregnant. Had her baby. I think it was like late last year she had her baby, and I guess she was ready to come back for a return. But she did was doing some shows like before, she returned to TNA. But I don't think she was like wrestling or anything like that. I think she was just mainly just being on Myron Larie's corner, which is her I think yeah, they did get engaged. So I don't know if they're officially married yet. So that I do not know. But Killer Kelly came back, gave Master Slam the chain, when they was, tag team MK Ultra, winning the tag titles and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess it was interesting to see. So I guess maybe either they bring that back or she's gonna start end up feuding with Master Slam. So right now we don't know. And I did miss part of this match, so that kind of sucks. Joe Hendry ended up going against Frankie Kazarian, so And I think around that time, I was leaving from a location where I was at, and keep forgetting that I could have watched it on my phone, which I did kind of try, but when I'm trying to get this match going, uh, I was too late. So oh yeah, I did see like the closing moments of this. So mainly, Frank Kazarian did cheat to win. So yeah, so he ended up getting one over Joe Hendry. Although Joe Hendry, I think it's like his last months with TNA because his contract will expire. So I think he would have had a little bit of a better run with the TNA title, but then again, I guess they decided to do something quick, different, and give it to Trick Williams. So yeah. Um. Anyways, let's see. Yeah, this is like kind of weird too. Okay, they ain't on that match yet, but TNA World Tag Team Championship match: the Nemets versus the Rascals, with the Nemets defending the tag titles, and I kind of figured because they wasn't gonna lose the title, but y'all probably gonna like. I don't know if y'all gonna like it or you're gonna hate what I'm about to say, but I think the tag team championship match was the match of the night in my opinion. So it kind of flips, hits, and kicks and all that other stuff going on. So yeah, so I'll just say that match was the match of the night. So the Nemesis did retain, defeating the Rascals. What more can you do? Eric Young is banned from the building after attacking the fan on TNA Impact. So yeah, y'all probably saw that. Okay, yeah, he did cross paths with Sammy Callahan, which is he's kind of like not just a wrestler, but he's also an agent for TNA as well. So yeah, I guess that story ain't probably gonna be over. But anyways, then this wonderful match as well. Um, Santino Marella versus Robbie Stone. Santino with his daughter Ariana Grace from NXT. And then you got NXT's Robert Stone, like accompanied by Tessa Blanchard, and I think Victoria Crawford was out there too. I'm not sure, but Matt Cardona ended up being out of nowhere being the special guest referee. So he said it before, yeah, he said it, before, this match that he's going to call it down the middle, and he actually did. So, although, he could have got, his revenge on both of them or one of them, wherever the case may be, but yeah, the man ended up calling it down the middle. And although there was some funny moments on here too as well, so it's crazy. But Santino Marella is staying as a director of authority, and Robert Stone is not. So I wonder how this is going to play off on Thursday. So it'll be interesting. It was funny with the backup Cobra. I think Ariana Grace did not have the backup Cobra after Victoria Crawford took it from him. So yeah, and of course Santino they had a post interview match with Gia Miller. Ugh, sorry. So yeah, um, that was a good match, and of course the main event for the TNA World Championship with Trick Williams from NXT defending the title against Elijah. So if y'all probably missed, how Trick Williams ended up getting the TNA title, he ended up having a match with Joe Henry at Battleground a few weeks ago, just out of nowhere. And plus, the TNA president was watching the match, and his face after Trick Williams won was just priceless. But like I said, it probably would be one of the biggest shocker of the year so far, unless something else happens. But something else did happen, but we will talk about that later. But it doesn't have anything to TNA, but it has something to do with WWE. So we'll talk about that later. So yeah, um, of course, Kurt Williams did, cheat to win, and I think, yeah, of course, First Class was out there too. Like, aiding Trick Williams on and distracted Elijah. So kind of sucks, and we still trying to wondering what uh, first class motive in all of this is by helping Trick Williams to retain, the TNA title. And y'all probably know the story with him. AJ Francis was, once known as Top Dollar. And unfortunately, they did their releases and he was one of them that got let go, but they did kept the rest of, Hit Row. Like B Fab right now is doing her own thing. She's doing pretty good. And Shantae Diadonis and have been called back to NXT and doing, the gimmick of, being a womanizer. So yeah. So at least them two are doing pretty well. And of course, with Swerve Strickland in TNA. So yeah. Anyways, yep. Trick Williams, of course, you did retain, and was I think yeah, that was it after that. But we can say this here. I'm going to be fair in like grading in this, although I missed majority of one match. But I'm gonna try to be fair, grading it. In my opinion, this pay per view against all odds, like it was something a little bit off. I don't know what it is, but it was something a little bit off. So the rating of it from 1 to 10 that I'm gonna give against all odds, I'm gonna actually give it a 7, 7 out of 10. So yeah, there's just some few things I don't know what it is, but it was just missing. Not sure, but it probably ain't gonna come to me until way later in my life. But yeah, rated it a 7 out of 10, and I will actually give this pay per view grading from A to U. I'm gonna actually give it a B. So just a solid B. Um, yeah, I don't know what was missing with this, but I am not sure. And you thinking, that the 8 man tag, it was close to being, tied with, four match in the night, but that is like a very close second to, the TNA tag title match that happened. So yeah. Okay, we can move on from that and let's talk about we're going to talk about the results of WWE's Worlds Collide that happened, yesterday afternoon, which was exclusively on YouTube. And if you didn't see it, you can have opportunity to go to WWE's YouTube channel and you can watch it again. Or if you didn't see it, you can watch it on there. So, oh, okay, I'm about to say I read that wrong. I'm like, what? About to say, this match I only see some of it. I didn't see all of it, and that ended up being the first match. The LWO versus Christian Iguana, Ariel Star, and Octagon Jr., which he has little issues with Dominic Mysterio, and Dominic Mysterio ended up challenge Octagon Jr. to a match at Money in the Bank. So good extra match. Maybe they can add like a few more matches into no Money in the Bank instead of having 5 matches as always on a PLE. Just don't make any sense. But so Link Navarro did join LWO just for the night. Well, just for the day, I should say, not night but day. So join him for the day, and of course Link Navarro because right now he's on Evolve, which I don't know why, and they should have just called him back into the main roster. It just don't make any sense. Some of the things, what WWE does at times just don't make no sense. Just like AEW, most of the time, does things that don't make any sense. Um, yeah, like there's all federations and stuff. They do stuff that don't make no sense. But I don't know. But if y'all get sick of the same thing y'all see over and over, you gotta throw your voice in there. So this is kind of like one of the things that just throw your on and get your message out there. Okay, so it was a decent match. I couldn't, like I say, I only see like some of it, and I couldn't see like all of it. So yeah. So of course, I did see this match, and Stephanie the third and Lola Vice end up going to Chick Tormenta and Dailies. I think I got it right. But anyways, Chick Tormenta. I was like, that name is familiar and that person is familiar, but they did mention like recently she did lose her mask. So, but then again, it hit me. Then it's like she's on Wild Women of Wrestling. I haven't like seen her like in on there in weeks, and I guess she was doing AAA at the same time. I guess so. She is an interesting character to watch for. So yeah, so hopefully they get something settled with AAA. Maybe they'll show more you know shows, have like maybe a weekly TV show, even if it's on like on the Saturday or like during the day Saturday or something like that on whatever channel they can get it on. Just do it like that. But it was cool, see Conan, we're commentating on there with Corey Graham, so something different. So it was pretty cool. And Rey Mysterio did, they did, had him back there, and I thought, he probably would have returned to beat a Dominic or whatever. And I thought he was gonna happen that Money in the Bank as well, but didn't happen. So anyways, Legado El Fantasma, that's Santos, Humberto, and Angel Garza. So they came in camouflage pants, so that was kind of a shock. And of course, they represented WWE. Then you got El Hydro Day, Dr. Wagner Jr., Psycho Clown, and Pagano. And I think the costume of the face mask of Pagano, my wife really liked. Especially he had the got the tongue out on part of his mask, so she thought that was very cool. And for her for not being not liking clowns, she actually ended up watching the whole match. So very proud of her. But yes, Angel Alberta Escobar, yeah, they did won the match, and whenever Triple A's Triple Mania is going to be either this month or next month, I'm not sure, but I forgot what they call that with Roberto and Angel's team with Garrioso or something like that. I can't even remember. But anyways, them two will have a AAA tag team title match against whoever is their current tag champs. Which really, I don't know. Don't know that much about AAA, but especially only seeing the TNA was working with AAA and stuff like that at times, and yeah. Of course, the Fatal Four Way match. I would have to say this match was actually but all these matches were good. They all were good. But it was a very close. I had to give this match actually a match of the night with the Fatal Four Way for the North American Championship. Although that Ethan Page is not that much of a high flyer or anything like that, so it's still working and still I think they all did good. So yep, Ethan Page did retain his title. And a very good main event actually. It was El Hydro del Vikingo. I'm sorry. They ended up being Chad Gable, and which I thought was a very good match. And I was thinking if you wanted like get anybody upset, why not have Chad Gable end up winning the title. But I think because there's some people that probably now for the first time, like myself, watching I wouldn't say the first time, maybe this second time because I did see it on the first time when they was did like a Impact episode where it was featuring TNA stars and AAA stars. So yeah, that was something different. But yeah, this was a good match as well, and it ended up being a very close second, well, very close, or close to time for first for the match of the night or match of the day on there. But yeah, like very good match. I'm gonna be kind of fair because I didn't see like all of the first match, which kind of sucks. I may gonna end up trying to watch them. Um, I'm not gonna share any screens or anything like that for people that's on TikTok because I do not know you. If I do get to know you at the end, maybe we can collab or something like that. Well, that's the same thing for you guys on YouTube and of course Facebook Live and Twitch. If y'all want to collaborate on something, I'm open to it. So just let me know. Um, I'm gonna rated it like this one, although only taking like a point away because I didn't see the full match of the first match, and the matches that they could have had at least one more match for the time limit they had and all that. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9, like a rating it like 9 out of 10 because it was very good. Um, and I would actually would give it because of the same reasons I explained it. With grading, I'm gonna give it an A minus. So yeah, I think for the first time in a while, there's been a WWE show. I think like since WrestleMania, I believe that I gave like A to. So yeah, this one ended up getting an A minus, and I'm rating it 9 out of 10. So probably the best show out of all three shows that happened. With TNA, This Worlds Collide, and also Money in the Bank. So y'all probably will not like my grading for Money in the Bank. So we're about to talk about that in a second. So let me just try to find this, and there we go. So if y'all know the results or anything like that, but the ones that don't know the results, I'm not going to say anything until we get to of course as y'all can see this picture on here, the shocker of the night did happen involving the tag team match that was the main event. So let's get the results. For y'all watching pre-recorded, y'all probably already know who I'm talking about that made that surprise return. But let's like call it down there once. So the women's Money in the Bank, decent match. I was a little shocked, but not upset on who won the women's Money in the Bank ladder match because I think she does deserve it. Especially it's been like what is it like nearly a decade ever since she hold like a singles title, and that was the SmackDown Women's title. She only hold it twice, and that's Naomi. End up winning the ladder match, which is pretty good, and it kind of threw off what I was thinking because I was thinking of Stephanie Baker to get the briefcase just to be like a big shocker and everybody would go nuts. Like any of the the three newbies would have been great, but they went with Naomi and the storyline that she's going with right now, where her character makes sense. So, and there's gonna be a match that doesn't make sense on who won it. I will get to that in a bit. So, congratulations to Naomi, and most likely she's probably gonna catch it on Tiffany Stratton, but just a matter of when. So I just hope she just hold on to the case, whatever. Maybe after SummerSlam or whatever their September. Oh yeah, Clash in Paris. So that would be a good opportunity, to cash it there against Tiffany Stratton. So because she would have the whole I would say what like 8, 8, 9 months of holding it, and that'd be good for her, and probably have her a little bit more of the a chaser a bit before they give it right back to her. Okay, This amazing match had to be. I would have to say for them throwing it in there at the last minute, that had to be match of the night, for my opinion. So Intercontinental Championship match, Dominic Mysterio was defending against Octagon Jr., which I was talking about before. Um, and I forgot he's like part of the Aztec Warriors on TNA, so I guess he's gonna be going a little bit back and forth, with Triple A and TNA and all that stuff. So very interesting. But like I said, it was a good match, and I did like Octagon Jr.'s outfit, what he wears to the towards the ring, before he started his match. So that was very interesting. Um, yeah, the one that is shocker that I'm not upset, but I think it's kind of fit like where they're going is, and somebody did point it out who I chatted with that as you can see, if they would have if Lyra Valkyria would have retained, that would be it for that story, and we thinking the story should continue, which it makes sense. Like I said, I wasn't upset with Becky winning or anything like that. I guess I was just like a little bit more of a shock. But then again, it took me a minute. Then I understand why they went this route, so they can continue this feud. Which maybe Night of Champions she gets a rematch, or because they did mention earlier on Money in the Bank that they're gonna start the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring tournament this coming Monday, which will be tomorrow. So they will start that, and the finals of both sides, both men and women, it will be on Night of Champions. So hopefully they end up putting like more matches in there than just do their normal five. But I think like big thing for like Saudi Arabia, I think they're gonna actually do more than just five matches. They need to, and they really need to. And like if they ain't gonna do it when they here in the states, at least do it for 1 year, like in the international. Have more matches than just five, and also what you do with your big four PLEs. Like at least have like more matches than that. Shoot, like every single title should be defended on Night of Champions. Then you got after that you got what July you got Great American Bash during the day. Then you got Saturday night's main event. Then you have Evolution 2, as they call it. But I'm just gonna say Evolution 2025. So three events will be interesting to watch. Just to wait and see. But yeah, I think did no Valkyria and she did have to raise Becky's hand, and afterwards Valkyria ended up suplexing her. So that just kind of confirmed it that their story isn't over, which is kind of good because right now if you want to have their story run and stuff like that, like started after WrestleMania after Becky attacked Lyra, thinking that she was the one that caused them to lose the tag titles. So and plus when she's saying in the press conference, like she Becky did return to get revenge on Liv Morgan, which is understandable by taking away the tag titles. But guess I guess she got upset. They lost them, then ended up attacking Lyra. So that storyline was going on ever since. So the the winner of this match, in my opinion, and I know there's half of y'all do agree with me that Seth Rollins should not won this match. He didn't need it. He really didn't need it. And there's some people like pointing out, he's the one that make the most sense. No. You got like five fresh faces on that match, and the only veteran in that match was like, Seth Rollins, because he won it. I know, some of them have been, on in the ladder match, Money in the Bank ladder match a few times, but still, it's like, okay, you got LA Knight that's from, LA, which they were at, and Could have been a big moment for him, but nope. Triple H decided to go with Seth Rollins, and I know Seth Rollins is a Triple H guy, so whatever. I can understand you want to rely on your veterans to keep your your brand going, but no, that's the thing. You can have Seth Rollins end up winning King of the Ring or something like that, and have him win it and have him challenge for whoever champion is at SummerSlam. But the sad part is, I thought he was going to cash it at that moment at Money in the Bank when they had that main event tag match, which shockingly it didn't happen. But possibly, after the Jey Uso and Gunner match, um, Seth is going to cash it in that day, and it is not going to be great. And plus, the reason I say it's not going to be great because the team they formed, with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, they haven't been, fully established all of them three as a team yet. They just recently, he bring in Braun Breaker, so and then suddenly, a couple weeks ago, Bronson Reed showed up in return. Did what he had to do, and that was on Saturday Night Main Event actually when Bronson Reed returned. So the team just need to be more, established before, you say, okay, Seth Rollins can go for the main belt or something like that. It just didn't make sense to me. And forever in my day, until whenever, I still think, Seth Rollins did not need to win the briefcase. And speaking of the briefcase, I don't know if some of y'all that's on, I think majority of y'all probably can see it. That's on Facebook and on TikTok. That if you see that green thing that I'm pointing at over there, I apologize that majority of y'all like on YouTube Live and YouTube and Twitch can't see it. But over there, I end up buying the Money in the Bank briefcase. And yes, this is like the actual one, you know what I mean. But yeah, I do got that bad boy, and plus I normally would have like more belts than what is showing here. Y'all probably can see some of them. Like you see the WWE Championship, which is not mine. Probably see the Stone Cold Steve Austin WWE Championship. Um, you probably see a little bit in the Sky Blue. Of course, the other WWE Championship. Before they went to the Attitude Era title, which the one Hogan ended up holding first, and but it's the Sky Blue one, and I actually did show that to Mike. So yeah, and you probably will see. No, you probably won't see it, but you'll probably just see some of the figures and Funko Pops of WWE stars. So yeah, and I know there's more on the other side too, but I guess it's something I need to mention. So yeah, I did that. Anyways, like I said, still, and it's probably not gonna make sense to me for a while that Seth Rollins did not need that briefcase. Maybe you want to get up more people upset. You could have had El Grande Americano win the briefcase. I would have accepted that. Like any of those five out of six, well, not counting Seth Rollins, any others I can accept. Especially Solo Sikoa did not have a singles title since he won the North American title in NXT and haven't had a singles title since. So he had Jacob Fatu, had the US title around his waist before even Solo ended up having a title. But if y'all get what I'm saying. So yeah, the match that doesn't make the end of the match just didn't make the most sense. And Seth Rollins group, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, they came out, and also Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo, they came out, trying to wrestle with Reed and Breaker. So it seems like Jacob Fatu was going to help Solo Sikoa. So I'm thinking like, oh my God, he's going to win it. That's good. Nope. Jacob Fatu grabbed him, and if y'all probably missed it on SmackDown this past Friday, I couldn't hear what they were saying, but it was JC Mateo and Solo were talking to each other, and I think they were talking bad about Jacob Fatu, and he did, overhear it, kind of like that thing that Triple H and Ric Flair were talking to each other about Batista, and they didn't know that he heard it. So yeah, it was kind of the same thing, but Solo, not Solo, but Jacob Fatu grabbed Solo's ankle and said it was one point, before they set that up, he was saying, "I love you, Solo." Then grabbed him and saying, "I hate you, Solo." Yanked him down and just went to town on him and just left. So yeah, this is yeah, that it was an insane match. I think, like I said, it just ruined it for me that I would have gave this match in the night, but after Seth Rollins winning it, and yeah, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm sorry, but he does not deserve it. He really doesn't.
I do deserve it. I deserve the Money in the Bank championship. You wouldn't let me compete this year.
Maybe I'll buy you the white briefcase.
I want the pink briefcase.
Oh yeah, that Tiffany Stratton had.
Yeah,
I don't even know if they still had that available, but I'll look
I
into it.
want that. I will walk around with that with my Divas belt and the Maddie's Memory title.
We do have a Maddie's Memory title here.
Should
That
I get it? Please show.
yeah, sure. As she gets that, we will talk about the main event, which is Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes going against John Cena and Logan Paul. With Jey Uso having the World Heavyweight title and John Cena with the WWE title. So,
Plates are blue.
yeah, so y'all get to see this is the Maddie's Memory Championship belt. Um, yeah, it's just mainly she just did it for display, but it is a really nice belt. And plus, you can see like I
The
can
plates are blue.
yeah, pay,
Obviously, the belt itself is pink.
yeah, the belt is pink, and of course the plates are blue. Like you see the awareness ribbon on
And then
here.
there's a mama holding a baby.
Yep, my mama holding a baby on here as well. And yes, okay, on the other side it's the same thing. So, yep, you guys, yep, this is the belt. So for you
I am
guys
the
that's
only
watching it,
holder of the belt.
yes, you're the only holder of the belt. Of course.
The only champion.
Yes, the only champion. Just like Zack Ryder was saying he's the internet champion. He only he's the only one that holds the belt. Never defend it or anything like that. So yeah. So anyways, like I said, pretty good match. Just probably, the top three of the five matches that in my opinion. Um but yeah, but the shocking thing was as looked like Cena was gonna win it for his team, Lund Holmes becomes this guy that was in like a hoodie and stuff, kind of like tackle John Cena, start punching him. Then it revealed when he took off the black mask, it was R-Truth. So the returning R-Truth, and I guess he ended up attacking Cena with the belt, left out of there, and Cody Rhodes hit his move to end the match. So Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso did end up winning that match. Yeah, that was a good. It was a good main event, but like I said, it's my top three of those five matches that happened. But it just, I guess it just couldn't make it match of the night because, like I said, my match of the night was the Intercontinental Championship match. Although they only had like 10 minutes to do whatever they did, and I don't know why they can't do like certain matches like that. You can add more matches and do like some 10-minute matches. Like you ain't gotta like.
Nothing always has to be a 5 minute quick match.
Well, I mean to say, everything don't always have to be like a 30-minute match or something like that. It really doesn't. Just let them tell the story and go from there. And it doesn't have to be long. So I just don't get why, Triple H don't see that. Because, yeah, it's like you given quality over quantity, but you can also do both quality and quantity.
Let's be honest. Some of the longer matches are boring.
They get boring
Some
to a
of the
certain,
short
yeah,
matches are boring. You just got to have the right team up for it to work.
right.
And I think Triple H is still in that mindset of, oh, wave everything long and do this and that, then it's gonna be a greatest match ever. And it's like, my man,
That's not always the case. So yeah,
especially if you've got a wrestler who can't carry a match.
right,
You know what I mean? And there are plenty of really good wrestlers who work well with others, but who can't carry a match by themselves, and you can see it. It's painful to watch.
right, exactly. So that out the way, and they did, clarify, and our truth did actually clarify that they did, call him like he was he was like ignoring, WWE's, calls. And plus, with everybody's reaction to, they, that, WWE decided they're not gonna, renegotiate or renew his contract. They was just gonna let him go. The voice of everybody that says that, especially on Monday Night Raw, they let them hear it. And Hazel had told me something she found out too, that I think they were losing people, decided, not to watch Netflix well, not to have Netflix anymore because the Raw shows on there. And I was thinking for a second, like I know our Truth will be on SmackDown, but then again, it's about like letting your voices be heard. So I'm glad R Truth returns, and hopefully, he'll eventually be the one, to beat John Cena for the WWE Championship. Even though if he have it, for like a month or something like that, then give it back to Cena. Then Cena can be like another record, 18-time champion, whatever, until finally lose it to somebody. If he holds it up to the so-called ruthless aggression PLE that's supposed to happen, after Christmas. So it's just one of those things. You just wait and see. So who knows? Hopefully, our truth, get his moment, holding the world title. But I'm sorry, but he is also a phenomenal 24/7 championship, and I just wish they just never let that go, and they could have worked it in with somebody else. But some people. Okay, now, Raiden and Graydon, the pay per view overall. Like I said, I normally because of the minimum of matches, and like I'm glad they added that Intercontinental Championship match. Like it was like a earlier in the day thing. They decided to add that, so that's worth it. And it seems like matches don't always have to be 30 minutes. Like I was trying to like preach that. Um, but the rating I would give it. I'll probably do the same. Just give it the same thing I give with TNA. Just give it a 7. But the grading will be a little bit more different, and some people may not like it. Some people may like it. Who knows? But the rating, I'm gonna no the grading I'm gonna give Money in the Bank. I'm gonna give it a C, not a C plus, not a C minus, just a solid C. And when you get your grades like A, B, and C, you get your C is like average. So like I said, the few things took away. Like I said, Seth Rollins winning the briefcase and the amount of matches and stuff like that, and but everything else, picked up and stuff like that. So I had to give, Money in the Bank this year a C. So yeah, so we're gonna stick with that, and their next event ain't gonna be until a few weeks from now. With Night of Champions will be during the day Saturday, which is pretty cool. Get to watch it during the day, then don't even have to worry about you know, whatever's gonna go on Saturday evening, which probably would be Collision. So yeah, I still gotta watch AEW's special that they did this past Wednesday. So yeah, I do gotta catch up on that. But those are my like ratings and gradings for the last three special events. And if y'all did enjoy it better, y'all can comment below. Just talk about what y'all thoughts about those three special events. One from TNA, two from WWE. Hopefully with WWE doing like some of this like a special during the day, then the other whatever special either it'll be like a Saturday night main event or something. They could keep doing that, but I'm still sorry, but I think Seth Rollins winning that briefcase did not make any sense. I know some of y'all are gonna say, but the story makes sense with him winning it. No, it doesn't, because he didn't need it. He could, they could probably, put the title on him anytime they wanted to. So it's gonna suck because if he does cash it in tomorrow on Raw and end up, winning it, and Jey Uso end up, not having that much of a run with it. But I know he, defended it a lot, but still, Jey Uso could have had, a better run than that, and he deserves a better run. Winning at WrestleMania like late April, then it's June, so like nearly 2 months he had the belt, and defended it was the like 5 times. No, no, it's about to be the fifth time with Gunter tomorrow. But yeah, there was like a match that I know he was defended it a few times. I think it was one time, yeah, one time it was against Seth Rollins. Then I think he defended it in Backlash too. But also defended in Saturday Night Main Event against Logan Paul, and I think he had a match before that too. Defended it, and I think this Monday would be his fifth defense in 2 months. So that's a lot you got to say about a person defending the title and stuff like that. So that's something. But enough about wrestling. We're gonna talk about a couple of things about crap, and it end up going back. So I gotta go to the real Milwaukee Bucks group, and it's just showing on me on their live. uh, yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that's going on. So we're gonna get to. I think this was the first thing that we are gonna talk about. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll it down and it's not moving. Was there any? Okay. Of course, y'all like Bucks fans and stuff, and y'all in the Milwaukee area. This coming weekend, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there's gonna be stuff at the pro shop that's gonna be up to 80% off. So, of course, Thursday they got it from 2 to 6. Friday 11 to 6. Saturday 11 to 4. Then Sunday 11 to 4. So, free parking, of course, at the Highland Garage with purchase, of course. Um, but yeah, although I end up working. Oh yeah, I'm off Thursday, so I'll probably gonna check it out. But I probably won't even have much money to deal with. But I'm probably gonna wait till Sunday to go and check it out. So that's the June 15th on Father's Day. Although I know maybe I probably will if I have time. If not, I probably will just like go down there Thursday just to look and go from there. But anywho, so that's that, and of course I mentioned last week about this that which Barrett did kind of twist around that because Kyle Kuzma, as you see, training and stuff like that, hopefully he still works out in the off season like he is now with this photo being up. So they're saying Kyle Kuzma on Giannis if he leaves Milwaukee Bucks next year. It says me too if you leave next year. So well, you leave this off season. So I pointed out first of all, Kyle Kuzma, who's going to take you? Because the way you was playing, for this past season, you was lucky enough the Bucks had took you. So like I said, I don't know, how if somebody was crazy enough to want him, they're gonna ask for a pick or something like that, and you don't want to give them your first round pick because you don't have that many. Maybe you want to get rid of a second round pick or something like that. Somebody will take that. So otherwise, Kyle Kuzma is stuck with the Bucks for the next 3 seasons. So nice try, Kuzma. So this is one of the things that y'all can see right here. Um, I'm sorry for the lose. I know it's been a lot of people. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna stop it from there. But as you see, like of course, Costas is in over siege, back in Lebanon, Greece, I would say. But they're playing for the team, and it looks like he's doing good and improving. Like he's still young. I think he's like what 'cause I know Alex is the youngest, and I think he's like about 21 or 22 or something like that. And I know Costas is maybe like a few years older, so I think he's like 25 or 26. So I could be wrong, but why not bring like Costas into the Bucks? Have him be the backup center. Because I think he is a 7 footer. I think he's like a little bit taller than Giannis, and like a 7 footer, can do the same thing as Giannis can. And I know, I guess that's the way. If you end up, losing out on Giannis, if he decides, he wanted to trade. Oh, my auntie's on there. So hey, fellas, what's going on? My auntie's on TikTok. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, they just mainly just talk about like Costas, like they should bring him back to the league. I don't know how long of a contract that he signed, with the Greek team, but yeah, they really do need to bring him back. So of course, I don't know why this person said, the Milwaukee Bucks got fake news on the best shooter off the bench. The best shooter off the bench was Gary Trent Jr. before, they put him into the starting lineup. Then you got Kevin Porter Jr. and also AJ Green. So yeah, I'm doing well. As you probably know, I started my new job last week, and you know, it's just used to like being on your feet for like 6 hours with no breaks. So yeah, but I can ask for a break, but it's like you be too much in the zone and stuff. You don't think about it until it's close to that time. It's like you know what, just keep working until it's time for me to go. So yeah, I'm working at Cousins. So um, if y'all ain't familiar with Cousins, it's like it's something like Subway. It is like they make subs and stuff like that. But Cousins is a Wisconsin-based submarine store that was created, well, opened in 1972, and I think it had a sign on one of the Cousins. I think the one that I'm at, they had the official first one that they opened in Milwaukee. I think it was somewhere in Silver. It was somewhere on Silver Springs, so I believe that was. But I know they got locations in Arizona and Illinois, so I don't know anywhere else. I just know about Illinois and Arizona. Those only two, states that I know they have like cousin subs at besides here in Wisconsin. Um, But anyways, back to this thing. So the player they talking about on here is Pat Connaughton, and it was announced that earlier today that he is going to pick up his player option. So yeah, he's staying with the Bucks for another season. So things on T. Yeah, I'm glad I'm doing better than ever because past year has just been kind of like up and down. Then and plus this past Friday, as I told everybody that we had to put my dog to sleep. So yeah, still sad about it to this day. But yeah, so we're trying. But we still got our other two, Mindy and Daisy, and plus we got our son's dog too here, Ivy, which she's trying to creep around. I don't know. Y'all may end up seeing her eventually. I think probably some of y'all that just saw TikTok might have just saw her, but yeah, she's gonna be end up appearing more in my videos because she's just kind of a colorer. But yeah, we just got her until the end of next month when Robert gets back from basic training and all the advanced training and stuff that you got to do. So yeah, oh yeah. Anyways, with the Pat Connaughton situation, I'm neutral on that one, especially when you see like some of the games that he played like late in the season. Was doing wonders for the Bucks, and plus, Bucks ended up, with with an 8 game winning streak before the playoffs, so that was like good on their end stuff. So like all those 8 games they won was in April, so you were thinking that they would have had the momentum, to win their matches and stuff, their beating their opponents like the Pacers and stuff like that. But yeah. But anyways, Pat Connaughton didn't pick up his player option, so it's not a surprise. We kind of expected it. But I guess if you still want to, work with, still want to be with an organization that you won a championship with, so why not? But I mentioned on other videos too that I think, I think that's it for Brook Lopez. That he's just gonna be gone. So no sign and trading. While some people thinking they'll no, just let Brook go. Wherever team that want to be foolishness, they pay him like the 30 something million that they think he's supposed to be given, which let them be the sucker for that. But yeah, I think yeah, Brook Lopez days in Milwaukee is done. It needed to be done because this year, like last year playoffs, he did well, but it was just like okay, like why you didn't do that in the beginning? Especially not a good rebounder trying to face the floor for everybody else to rebound, which doesn't make any sense. If you see the ball right there, you just grab the rebound regardless. But that Brooks. So I didn't read this full article. What like I said, Bobby Porter's making shocking decision on Bucks future. So I don't know why I clicked that. It doesn't. Okay, it does like have that. So we're just gonna read a little bit on this and just see like what they're talking about. So okay, so there's rumors that he's going to decline his player option. So let's see. However, a recent update of the NBA Insider suggests otherwise. Oh yeah, of course, Jim Akwaski from the Journal Sentinel dropped the news that that might keep fans on their toes. Bobby appears more inclined to exercise his player option, stick around for another year. So you know what? Less worries for the Bucks. So if this is true, which it seems like it's going to be, that Bobby Portis is going to keep go for his player option, which people thinking that shouldn't he shouldn't ask for more money, but if you were the team that you won your first championship with, you know what at least you kind of like I wouldn't say owe them that much, but that would be probably good that they actually go for that. But I think this is a good thing, and plus kind of make up for what happened with his suspension and stuff. Although it was an accident, but it's like one more key thing. But yeah, you still got Gary Trent Jr. You got to worry about in free agency, and you got Kevin Porter Jr., who's still undecided if he's going to keep his player option or not. And you got Jericho Sims, who is a restricted free agent, which they ain't gonna name that. And plus, the Bucks got like bird rights to him, with the Knicks being so long, and then traded him like in half the trade deadline. So I do hope they keep Jericho Sims, but in free agency, at least keep Gary Trent Jr. If Kevin Porter decides to opt out, sign him too. Maybe sign Ryan Rollins or and if you do like sign Ryan Rollins, you good with your point guards with him and also with Kevin Porter Jr. So I don't care what anybody said. I thought he did great as a point guard, Kevin Porter Jr. And plus the connection he has with Jericho Sims, so it shows to be worthy. So I think they should keep that going. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I know some of the things gonna be waiting on Giannis this season. So I got a feeling they might end up having a meeting, but there's rumors about that we're gonna get to in a bit. But I guess most likely they're saying that Bobby Portis will end up keeping this player option. So you know what? That's good. You know maybe they end up winning the championship this coming season. Then there you go. Maybe Bucks will end up signing a little bit more of a contract because y'all know the salary cap is increasing every year. So yeah, they do got a little leeway on that. So that's actually good news. So let's go for that. And there's some other news too before we end up doing this trade idea that I have, which it ain't gonna make sense. And I'm not saying that this trade should happen, but if it does, maybe they'll do it that way. Okay, I thought I had more stuff to talk about. But yeah, it was posted out that that rumors had it that Giannis is gonna be staying put, but we heard that before, like late last month, that he was gonna stay put. And of course, he was doing community service in Milwaukee at the time being when they saying like, okay, that's point to signs that he's gonna stay. So win some Allen 14. Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. Um, but yeah, I thought I had more news than that, but apparently I do not. So, what we're gonna do? We're gonna, do this trade. So I apologize if on here on the pre-recorded episode of Aftermath, if it gets cut off, I apologize. But this is, Google, doing this crazy stuff, and it's just one of the things you just don't have no control of. So y'all gonna be y'all probably gonna think I'm crazy about this, but this is just an idea. I'm not saying that it's gonna happen, but it'll just be different. Like, cause I know y'all probably thinking about the little crazier thing that I was thinking about. They should get Chris Paul in free agency. Have him have his last year as a Buck, and which he could have been if they didn't choose like Andrew Bogut, but Andrew Bogut was the right fit at the time, so I'm not knocking that down. But maybe what? There you go. You get Chris Paul, and may him have his last run because he's still good at what he does. Like I know he's 40, but probably be something that I think the Bucks should go for. Have a veteran point guard and go with that. But of course, the person that you got Bradley Beal that has a no trade clause, but the Suns want him gone. So it's gonna be like kind of crazy. Like who could Bradley Beal? Who will pick up Brad? Ooh, excuse me, pickups. Who will pick up Bradley Beal? And it's like a question mark. So it's like he does have the decision. Like okay, I want to go here. Why not? Oh God, excuse me. So well, like I said, you got the no take calls with Bradley Beal, so most likely he's probably gonna end up staying. So he ain't going nowhere. Um, So I know, Phoenix will want to get out of the second apron. So the move I'm gonna do is not gonna help the cause anything, but maybe they can make some decisions on with some players. This you can see they recently did get Nick Richards from yeah, I think a guy from Charlotte. They trained him for Justin Nurkic, but don't know why. I thought Justin Nurkic would have done well, but this is crazy. But anyways, my thing is what, give Kevin Durant go to the Bucks. Um, then I know it's gonna be a long shot, but then again, if you want like the Suns, kind of rebuild in a way like that, trade Damian Lillard. That's the only contract that would match. But I don't think you're gonna get it like rid of Kyle Kuzma, then end up giving up Pat Connaughton, and that sucks up all some of the money you want to do to sign the rest of the free agents. So that's not gonna work. So most likely, contract for contract, but I know Suns may want some picks, so let's see what we can do for them. Um, like I said, the 2026 second round pick is not a guaranteed. Of course, 2027, and they got the right swap, and with the 2028 situation is kind of crazy too. So it all depends on. Sorry, it all depends, what's gonna be going on. But the thing they can probably do, because I think they can trade their 2032 picks if they wanted to, um, if all that works. So let's see. Okay, before that, let me see. What picks that you know Suns have available. So they do have the 29th and the 52nd pick via Denver. So we'll just take a second round pick of this year, and maybe no, the 47 pick they got this year via Detroit, they can actually get like a pass first point guard or go with the center first, which they really need to do, go for a center. And well, my thing is like second round pick, for 47 pick, go for a center. Then 2025 second round pick, whatever point guard is available, go for that. So yeah, so they probably will go, for a point guard and center. So I think they missed out on some of the centers last year, although they was in the first round. But the pick swap, they had to deal with the Pelicans last year's draft. So they kind of missed out on some of the good centers that they had there in the first round. So I guess close to the next would be Tyler Smith. They do got him. And it seems like they are going to keep him. So hopefully, Doc Rivers actually have some playing time. So let's see the second round. You know, giving them 20. Second round pick. They don't have a first round pick. Oh yeah, they do in 2026. So no, I don't think that's going to work. Let's see. I'm trying to think what pick will end up making sense. Um, they don't have a 2031 first round pick, but maybe we get them 2031 second round pick, so that at least they can have something on the board. Um, and the Bucks can really still keep their second round pick. So it may not look right, and it look like it's like actually even with this, but although Kevin Durant is getting older, but he's still one of the greatest shooters in the NBA. So that's probably something they might need help with. So maybe I can add somebody else to the pitch. So you got Kevin Durant is going to be the starting small forward, and you have nothing to do with Kyle Kuzma. Maybe you trade him to the Suns and try to get something that will be at least even with the sorry, which maybe you get a return of I wouldn't say Royce O'Neal, but maybe you get the return of Grayson Waller and not Grayson Waller, Grayson Allen. I'm sorry, thinking of the wrestler Grayson Waller. That's sad. Let's see. Who will? No, we're not gonna get one of their So we're just trying to look for contracts that will match. So they may not even have the choice, maybe to get let's see. Okay, so that'd be around 17 million. So maybe somewhere around like 5 million will even things up. So the crazy theory I'm gonna have is I don't think they're gonna do it, but just make the contract work. So let's just give up Nick Richards. So although it doesn't help the Suns in the long run, but but at least they have their the first round pick from Cleveland, so the 29th pick. So at least they safe on that one, get somebody in the first round. Then next year is only going to be a swap. So not too bad. And plus they actually got a 2026 second round pick, so they'll be okay until 2031. So that's why I think it was like right to give like the Suns our second round pick, so we able to like keep our first and don't have to trade away our first. So let's see if this idea works, and if it does, then cool. Um, wait, fail. Um, let's see. Oh, financial reasons. So if they would have had somebody else and then put in like point 0.4 million and stuff like that, but that's kind of sucks because the Bucks are getting 46K more they gotta pay, and you got the Suns that's got like minus 46K, so they actually saving a little bit from doing that trade. So I don't really get that. Okay. Oh, must be trade player exception. Okay. Five 5 million used from the 7.2 trade exception created by Chris Middleton being traded with the Wizards. Oh, okay. So they will give some of that. Okay, so there will be the 5 million player exception of the 7.2 trade exception that they got from trading Chris Middleton. I thought they had the mid-level exception of 14 million. So I don't know where that came from, but Milwaukee will have 11 standard contracts after the trade. Will need to get to 14, so that you don't have to worry about. But I think this is total crap, and I think it will be the trade will actually work. But I don't know what they're saying. Is it like because they don't have not that many players up there? So but then again, their offense will be better. And although for here, like we will get a +1 win, giving up more minutes. I don't know why they think our offense is going to be off. I think our offense will be, more better. Then you got your defense, that's a little bit better than what you have, with them. So I don't care what they say. I think that trade would work. But okay, you're under allowance of income amount of 46,000. Yeah, of course. Of course, 24 million they'll be under, and they still got enough money if they want to get go up to the first apron, or they want to go a little bit past the first apron, they can still do that with no not that much consequences and stuff like that. So probably something they can probably do, and think that's just a excuse me, better idea. But yeah, I know this is a crazy trade, but I just thought, but if I just did the Damian Lillard and Kevin Durant swapping giving this year's second round pick to the Bucks and give Suns a future second round pick, which would be 2031, which they don't have any 2031 picks, so that would save them at least for something. But I'm just gonna call BS on this, and I don't think that would be a fail. So whatever. So we're gonna move on from the Bucks and talk about some comic book stuff. So okay, so a lot of people was complaining about the with the female Silver Surfer. There's some people read in the comics, they it was a once a female Silver Surfer. So I don't know if people was upset, how it looked, and looking from the comparison here from from the Silver Surfer from the Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. Of course, that one looked good, and plus, what they did, like actually, the kind of like a live action Silver Surfer, before they took his board away. Um, I'm sorry, but that ended up being good. Oh, okay. What they saying here? Go back. What they were saying? Oh, it's just like their assumptions of Giannis, getting traded, which we still don't know from the horse's mouth or from other experts. Like you got ESPN saying that he's going to stay, then you got these other sources saying staying put, then you got the rest of them be like, okay, they should go for him because it seems like teams is hoping for like Bucks, get out of the first round, like don't get through the first round and stuff, so it'll make Giannis get upset and stuff like that. And like what Shaq said, it's like it's not the '90s anymore. Wherever you play at, you're going to be good. Like you just need to build up a legacy. So I would say if Shaq, would have went back to the Orlando Magic for his final like career and stuff like that, then I think like some people will finally respect him. But yeah, so I see nothing wrong with this design. Only problem they probably would have is like you can actually like see her eyes and you see with Silver Surfer you don't see his eyes that much. That could be the only problem that maybe some people will have. Like if I was like that person, that probably would be the only problem I would have with the design of the female Silver Surfer. Like I hate when people say like you got to stick with tradition. Have your white Captain America and stuff like that. It's just pretty silly that you know because if y'all keep up with like some of the comics, some things change and especially with Ironheart, which some people are upset about that we got Iron Man, but we're gonna end up getting Ironheart instead. Like seriously, stop crying about it. Like really, it's like y'all can't enjoy anything. Y'all just have like a lot of things to complain about. So, like I said, I don't have anything. I don't have that much to complain about against with Marvel Studios. The only thing like I'm upset with is like they trying to go with the routine of doing like two videos or two movies and three TV shows a year. I'm good with the three TV shows a year, but I'm not cool with the two movies a year. So Bob Iger was very upset when when Tim Feige did make that announcement. But I think they are actually going to work some things out because I think because what you're going to have between Fantastic Four and Spider Man's Brand New Day, you're going to have nothing. You're going to be like waiting for the exactly a year for some content. So if they get an opportunity, to work on something now, which they can actually, they can do like but I don't know, the script probably ain't gonna be ready. But then again, half the time, Marvel Studios does, shoot do production with like half of the script finished. So yeah, of course, Thor 5 is reportedly in development and could be the one that that can take that spot. But the thing is, between Doomsday and Secret Wars, we really don't have anything. But maybe Thor 5 will be the one they'll be working on all through the fall and something like that, and you can release it at least like close before Secret Wars. Do something with Thor, or maybe they end up working on the World War Hulk, wherever the case that may be. But I'm sorry, but Marvel needs to end up having a little bit more content, especially for like fans like me that would like to see more content. and people think they screwing up with designs because they rush them through and stuff like that. I do agree to a certain extent, but me, I didn't see that many problems with certain films. The only film I probably would have a problem with that I still like was the Eternals. The only problem I have, with the Eternals is that the story wasn't good enough. That's the only thing. But I did enjoy the movie, but it was just the story just did not work out. So mainly, they saying in the comics and of course on this Fantastic Four when it comes out in July, Sue Storm is the leader of the team, and we always think it was like Reed Richards, which was showing past Fantastic Four franchises and stuff like that in the comics. So yeah, things would be different. King will be reported to be mentioning in Avengers Doomsday, so they do need to mention him just to clear things out on what they can do from that. Or you can have another variant of a Kang being in when you see Secret Wars and maybe have him into the fray if you want to do like the next saga. But the next saga would be like, focused towards mutants. So, and I guess that's why, some people probably didn't like, this multiverse saga because half of the movies that were like on there did not talk about anything about the multiverse. So that's why you have probably had some people, decline, watching some of these movies and why, some of the movies in Marvel Studios were like people love them, but there's people that's not going to see them. So yeah. So okay, other news: Vision Quest will be out next year as well. It will have 8 episodes. So yeah, okay, fair enough. And of course, I talked about this last week. So the total earnings of Thunderbolts, 374 million worldwide. Although they made the budget back, but with cost, with merchandise and stuff like that. So that's how you can get. That's the only thing you can tell about when it comes, movies. So you don't know about the other stuff, with merchandise and stuff like that. I end up buying the I think I end up buying like a. I knew I bought the Captain America cup, so they probably got to add that in there and stuff. Yeah, and plus, oh yeah, I didn't get anything that was Thunderbolt. The only thing I got was the poster. So yeah, but yeah, that's it for like Marvel's updates. So we're gonna see DC updates before we close the show. And once again, I can't believe it's like nearly a 2 hour episode, which I don't try not to, but eh, let's just say things happen. Let me move this a little bit and let me put that back and move this camera. So yeah, guys, just gonna scroll down a bit. So the key art of David Cornsweet says Superman in Fortnite. Oh, that's interesting. That in Fortnite. I seen the game played. My son ended up, playing Fortnite a lot. But yeah. Oh, crypto is in Fortnite, so that's something strange. Let's see. Oh, okay. They're just wishing Aaron Pierre that's gonna be the John Stewart Green Lantern. Happy birthday, hello, 31st birthday. So okay, and plus about the Lanterns will be out summer of next year. Probably like a few months after Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which will be out in June of next year. Of course, we read about that one. And oh, pre-sales for Superman, all in Brazil, will be on Wednesday. Okay, they didn't have the world, the America release in that. So you'll be behind the scenes with Rick Flag Senior and James Gunn. So okay. Okay, yeah, Frank Grillo is his birthday today, so not only he played Crossbones on Captain America, I'm serious, and now he DCU's Rick Flag Senior. So probably heard his voice on Creature Commandos, and you're gonna see him in the upcoming Superman, and also in Peacemaker season 2. You're gonna see him in as well. So yeah, a lot of activity for him, and of course you have the Justice Gang they calling them. Of course, not only they're gonna be on Superman, but they're gonna be on Peacemaker season 2 as well. So wait a minute, brand new look of DCU's Crypto the Superdog in the new season of Fortnite. Okay, of course, 32 days until you see Superman. Clark Kent's Daily Planet badge and paper, whatever, but not much news. The only news I think I can come up with that they end up, cutting the Superman movie from was it 2 hours and 30 minutes to 2 hours and 1 minute. So yeah, they end up cutting that. I don't know anything about post credits or anything like that, so I'm not even gonna look. If they mention it on there, so good. One or two post credit scenes. You know what? Fine. Um, it could be interesting. Could lead to like other things if the film is successful. So they said the movie ended up with a $250 million budget that they had, and plus they spent like 300 million, another 300 million on in like promotion, merchandise, and stuff like that. So they saying the movie has to be at least make 800 million to break even. Um, I think it's going to be successful. Although y'all heard the news about the Fantastic Four, first step, the day the tickets went on sale, ticket sales went through the roof, and that is right now is one of the highest selling movie tickets this year so far. So, but yeah, like I said, not that much from DC and whatever. And I know they got to rewrite Clayface, so because that's supposed to come out next year, so they really got some work to do before if they want to really release, Clayface in October. And plus, Batman Part Two, they trying to figure that one out. So most likely, they're gonna start shooting either late this year or early next year. So yeah, there's a question mark on that one. But anyways, guys, like I said, thank you guys for watching, and that's all the time we have. Like I said, please subscribe to YouTube. Trying to get 1,000 subscribers, so please subscribe. And plus, like today's video as well. So I see a few likes on there. So thank you. And I appreciate everybody on TikTok that gave us likes as well. So we try to do live videos when we can. With aftermath. I know after dark is gonna be a little bit delayed, so probably gonna be back sometime in August. And where we do live videos, WFSO preview or wherever the case may be, we decide, end up one day just go live. We will. So you guys on Twitch, thank y'all for watching and also follow us on here. So please just send people our way. And Facebook Live. I knew I got to do more promoting on this. So yeah. So I will end up doing that, and hopefully people tune in more. So just wait and see. But also check out the website wrestlingfanspeakout.weebly.com for upcoming events in the Midwest, meet and greets, photos that we took with wrestlers, photos we took at Bucks events, including some of the players. Um, and we still working on the the merchandise store. So hopefully by summer we will sometime this summer it'll be up. So we'll see from there. And of course Pride Month, so be nice to people. They have a different, orientation about themselves than you do. Just be nice to them and be kind and support them. So I think probably tomorrow I probably will end up wearing my Bucks Pride shirt and probably the hat too that we got earlier this year. So I probably will wear that. Also, this month is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, so please, ladies, check on your guys. Either you have a son, boyfriend, or husband, dad, grandfather, uncle, whoever the case may be. Even if you have a male friend, no, please check on your man. Although the men are, you know, no, they can be great, but you have a strong women behind you, to make it much better. So just please, check on your people and make sure they're okay. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching. Until the next video, you guys will have a good one, and see you later.